Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a piece of hardware that creates a bit of a cognitive dissonance, I think.
Yeah, it really
It's
does.
the Kramer RC-208.
Right, which, if you look at the documentation, it honestly just looks like a standard wall switch.
Exactly. It's something you walk past in a conference room without even a second thought. But the technical specs suggest it isn't just a remote at all. It's actually a fully standalone room controller.
And that's the core tension here. Usually when we talk about room
They're
automation,
patrolling lights or projectors.
yeah, lights, projectors, screens, all of that. Usually we are talking about a massive server rack hidden in a closet somewhere.
Right.
But the RC-208 is interesting because it claims to cram that entire rack's functionality right into a standard one-gang wall box.
So our mission today for you listening is to figure out how they fit that much utility into such a small footprint.
Without compromising the user experience, of course.
Let's start with what the user actually touches. The design seems incredibly restrained. It's literally just 8 buttons.
It is, but the design philosophy here is all about tactile certainty.
Tactile certainty.
Yeah, in a world of touch screens where menus get buried and you're swiping around, this uses RGB backlit physical buttons.
It's satisfying. The datasheets actually emphasize the tactile feedback.
That specific click.
Yeah, so the command was actually sent.
And the button caps are removable too, which is a big deal for a facility manager.
Oh, right. I noticed that in the install guide, so you aren't stuck with generic icons.
Exactly, you can label them projector or volume or lecture mode.
Which removes the learning curve for a guest speaker, for instance. Plus, it fits into standard US, European, and UK junction boxes.
Right, so it integrates decoratively. It doesn't look like industrial machinery bolted to your drywall.
But the real story, I think, happens when you look behind the faceplate.
Oh, absolutely. The connectivity list reads more like a computer than a light switch.
It's the brain of the operation. Let's look at the schematic. It is surprisingly dense back there.
Packed with I/O ports, input and output.
So obviously there's an Ethernet port for LAN control, which you'd expect.
For configuration, sure.
But right next to it, there are 2 RS-232 ports and an RS-485 port.
And that is the bridge to the professional AV world.
For those not in the weeds of AV, can you explain that?
Sure, RS-232 and 485 are serial connection standards.
Older legacy connections, right?
They are older, but they are bulletproof. They let this keypad talk directly to projectors, switchers, amplifiers.
Without needing a translator in between.
Oh, exactly.
It doesn't stop at digital signals, though. I see terminals for IR and relays.
The infrared is clever. It has a sensor to learn commands from old remotes.
And then outputs to blast those commands back out to a TV or DVD player.
Right. But the relays are arguably the most critical component for controlling the actual room environment.
The spec sheet lists 2 relays capable of handling up to 30 volts DC. That's not for data, right?
No, that's for physical movement.
Like a switch.
Precisely, a relay is basically a physical switch controlled electronically.
So that's what drops a motorized projection screen.
Or lowers the blackout shades. It connects the digital button press right to the physical room.
Which explains why the sources call it a standalone controller. You don't need a separate central processor unit to interpret these signals.
The keypad is the processor. It completely decentralizes the control logic.
Okay, but how does this scale? Say I'm managing a university with 50 classrooms. The documentation mentions kconfig and knet.
Kconfig is simply the software layer. It's where you program the logic.
Like if button 1 is pressed, dim the lights to 50%.
And turn on the projector. Yeah. But knet is the hardware ecosystem.
That's the one that carries power and communication
Yeah,
over a single cable, right?
Yes. It allows you to daisy chain the keypad. So if you have a large lecture hall with 2 entrances.
You put a keypad at each door.
Exactly. And they stay perfectly in sync because they're linked on the same knet line.
And you don't need to run separate power supplies to every single switch. That massively simplifies the infrastructure.
It democratizes that high-end experience. You get automation without the massive overhead of a centralized system.
It bridges the gap between a simple light switch and a complex building management system.
Perfect for classrooms and meeting rooms.
Where you just want simplicity for the user. It definitely changes how you look at a simple wall plate.
Completely.
Well, I want to leave you with a thought based on this design.
Go for it.
As we move toward voice control and AI in our smart environments, there is this tendency to make technology invisible.
Right. Hide it away.
But is there something to be said for the tactile luxury of a physical button? Is the ultimate control knowing exactly what will happen when you press a switch, rather than hoping an AI understands you?
That is a great question. Sometimes the tactile approach really is the most luxurious.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We will catch you on the next one.